Welcome back, everybody. Today we're diving into a life story that's going to be both moving and insightful. We're going to be taking a look at Mario Jose Mongalo-Ortiz. And we're pulling from Mario.pdf, which is a biographical document all about his life.
Okay.
Now, you probably already know the basic timeline of his life.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to get to today are those deeper threads. How his joy and hardship and resilience and loss all kind of weave together in this life that was totally shaped by history itself.
Right. What's really striking to me about Mario's story is how deeply intertwined it is with the Nicaraguan Revolution in the 1980s.
Right.
That wasn't just some backdrop to his life.
Yeah.
It was like this huge force that shaped his whole family's choices and ultimately his entire path.
Yeah. He was born in Managua in 1969. And his early years were anything but peaceful.
Yeah, no kidding.
So picture this, Nicaragua, this country that's caught between the socialist Sandinista government and the U.S.-backed Contra rebels, and the economy's a mess.
Totally.
Daily life is unpredictable, and there's this constant threat of violence everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, the Mario.pdf document doesn't get too deep into like political analysis or anything.
Right.
But you can totally feel the tension of that time in just the little details,
Totally.
Like Mario's father was a skilled jeweler, but he struggled to find steady work. The whole family just knew they needed a change.
Right.
Like they had to have a chance at something better.
Yeah, and that chance kind of came in 1983 when Mario's father gets a job in New Orleans.
Okay.
And the whole family's set to start fresh in America.
Wow.
Can you imagine like that mix of emotions?
Oh, I bet.
The hope for the future, but also like leaving everything behind?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It was like a total leap of faith.
Yeah.
And it worked out for most of the family.
Yeah.
But for 14-year-old Mario, this journey takes a completely devastating turn.
Yeah, they're literally about to board the plane. Okay. And the Nicaraguan military steps in.
Oh, wow.
The military draft at 14 years old.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
His family's forced to leave him behind in this country gripped by conflict while they fly to an uncertain future.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like impossible to grasp the emotional weight of that separation.
Yeah, and it's here I think that we see the first signs of like Mario's resilience.
Right.
Like he's suddenly totally alone and facing a situation no child should ever have to face.
Right.
But instead of like crumbling, he adapts and survives.
Yeah.
The document even mentions that he becomes a father to a daughter, Ginger, in 1988.
Wow.
And that's just 4 years after being separated from his family.
A father at 18 in a war zone.
Wow.
It really makes you rethink what strength really means, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just like physical survival, but emotional survival too.
Yep.
Taking on that responsibility, finding like some sense of normal in the middle of chaos.
Yeah.
That says so much about his character.
Yeah. It also really highlights how the revolution and that specific time and place really shaped him.
Right.
Like it forced him to grow up way too fast and to make tough decisions and just confront loss and hardship so much earlier than anyone should.
Yeah.
It's no wonder that resilience became like such a defining part of him.
Totally. And he never gives up on reuniting with his family either.
Wow.
For years, he tries to reach them in the U.S. And every attempt is such a gamble.
Yeah.
It's fraught with danger.
I bet. And each failed attempt must have been just crushing.
Oh, yeah.
To have that hope, that drive to be with your family constantly met with obstacles.
Yeah.
It's incredible that he just kept trying.
Right. And finally, in 1990, he makes it to San Francisco.
Wow.
Years after that awful separation on the tarmac.
Yeah.
He's finally face to face with his family again.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a moment that's almost impossible to describe.
I bet.
Think about the joy, the relief, but also just the awkwardness of reconnecting after so long, after so much life lived apart.
And it's this reunion that I think sets the stage for the next chapter of his life.
Okay.
Where he tries to build a sense of normalcy, of family and belonging.
Right.
He's carrying the weight of his past.
Yeah.
But he's also driven by this hope for the future.
Right.
And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
It's easy to think that getting to San Francisco meant like a happy ending.
Right.
To all those years of separation.
Yeah.
But when we look closer at Mario.pdf, we can see that his journey to stability and belonging wasn't simple at all.
Yeah, it's almost like the experience of being uprooted.
Right.
Of having his world turned upside down at such a young age. It kind of stayed with him, like this longing for a place, a family,
right,
a life that felt whole.
Exactly, and that longing shows up in different ways.
Yeah.
In the early 90s, he marries Martha Milena.
Okay.
And they start building a family in San Francisco. Jonathan's born in 92.
Right.
And then Daisy, a few years later,
okay,
it seems like he's finally putting down roots.
Yeah.
Creating that stability he was looking for.
Yeah, but then he moves again.
Oh,
this time to Kansas.
Okay.
Now, Mario.pdf doesn't really say why he moved.
Right.
And I was wondering what made him change again.
Yeah.
Was he looking for a slower pace of life?
Yeah.
A way to escape the memories tied to San Francisco?
Uh-huh.
Or maybe money played a part.
Yeah.
It's hard to know for sure.
Right. That's what's tough about just having one source.
Yeah.
We get these glimpses into his life.
Right.
But the spaces in between,
Yeah.
those are filled with his own thoughts and emotions.
Yeah.
And motivations that we can only guess at.
Yeah, and it's in Kansas that we see another big change.
Okay.
The document mentions a separation from Martha.
Okay.
And then a new relationship and marriage to Helen Gebre-Amlak in 1999.
Wow. The story gets even more complex here.
Yeah.
We're talking about cultural differences,
Yeah.
the blending of families,
Right.
the difficulties of navigating love and loss.
It's important to remember we're only seeing the surface here.
Yeah.
What was it like for Mario after such a tough upbringing to now be building a blended family?
Yeah. What were the good parts?
Right.
The challenges.
Yeah.
Were there cultural differences?
Totally.
These are things that Mario.pdf only hints at.
Right. But what it does show us is a man who's determined to make a loving and stable home for his kids. Genova Alex is born in 2002.
Okay.
And for a bit, it seems like life is calming down.
Yeah.
And then another tragedy.
Oh, no.
Losing their baby Deb to SIs in 2004.
Oh, gosh.
It's just heartbreaking to read.
I bet.
And it makes you wonder how anyone can deal with that much pain, that sense of unfairness.
Yeah.
Especially after everything Mario had already been through.
Yeah. It's in these moments, though, that you see how strong he really is.
Right.
Because even with such incredible grief, him and Helen find a way to welcome twins Bethany and Eyasu just a year later.
Wow.
It really shows the power of hope,
Yeah.
of love, of that need to have a family.
And it makes you think about something we haven't really talked about much. Mario's faith. All through Mario.pdf.
Yeah.
There are these glimpses of him being involved with the New Haven Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Okay.
He becomes a deacon.
Right.
He studies the book of Revelation. It seems like his faith helped him understand the world, cope with hardship, and find meaning even when things were really bad.
Right. And it wasn't just about him feeling better.
Yeah.
He was actively helping his community.
Right.
Both in Kansas and as a commissioner to Nicaragua for 5 years.
Wow.
It's like he was trying to connect these two parts of his life, giving back to the country he came from and the country where he built a life.
It's that dedication to helping others that I find so inspiring.
Yeah.
He didn't just want to survive or build a life for himself. He wanted to make a difference, to leave the world better than he found it.
Right. And that, to me, is a huge part of his legacy.
This legacy built on resilience, on faith, on a dedication to family and community.
Yeah. But even with this newfound purpose, life had one more big challenge for Mario.
Okay. You know, it's interesting how Mario.pdf doesn't try to hide the hard parts of his life.
Right.
Like, it would have been easy to just skip over the painful stuff.
Yeah.
But instead, we get the whole picture, the good and the bad, the wins and the losses. And I think that's what makes it such a strong piece of writing.
Yeah.
It feels real and relatable.
Right.
And in the end, like, deeply human.
It's that honesty that really gets to you, right?
Yeah.
It reminds us that even when things seem to be going well, when we've built something good and meaningful, there are always going to be more challenges.
Yeah. And for Mario, one of those challenges was a huge loss.
Right.
In May 2017, his mother, Adela, dies.
Oh, wow.
It must have been so hard for him.
Yeah.
Especially with their difficult past. You know, that forced separation when he was young.
Right.
The years they were apart.
Yeah.
And then finally reuniting as adults.
It makes you think about all the things left unsaid.
Yeah.
All those feelings that might come up when you lose a parent.
It's not just about getting closure.
Right.
It's about losing a connection. a part of your history and who you are.
Yeah, and for Mario, who had already gone through so much loss, this must have been so painful.
And as if that wasn't enough.
Right.
A short time later, he's diagnosed with esophageal cancer.
Oh gosh, the timing seems almost cruel.
It really does.
He finally has some stability and purpose.
Yeah.
And then this illness throws everything up in the air.
It really shows how fragile life is. Yeah.
How quickly things can change.
But it also shows just how strong Mario was.
Right.
The document talks about his year-and-a-half fight with cancer, how he wanted to spend as much time as he could with his family, to make the most of every moment he had left.
Yeah, I was really struck by how, even when he was sick, he was still helping others.
It seems like that desire to help to make a difference was there throughout his entire life.
It says so much about him.
Right.
Even with his own pain and uncertainty, he was focused on other people.
Yeah.
On leaving the world a better place.
It's like a powerful reminder that we can choose how we react to bad things.
Yeah.
That even in dark times, we can still be kind and generous.
Sadly, Mario died on December 28th, 2018.
Yeah.
He was only 49.
Way too young.
He left behind a big, loving family.
Yeah.
His wife, 6 kids, 10 grandkids, a great-grandchild.
Wow.
His brothers, and tons of people he knew.
It reminds us that life is precious. Yeah.
And often way too short.
But it also shows us what an impact one person can have. Mario's story in Mario.pdf shows that a life full of hardship can also be full of love, resilience, and purpose.
You know what really hit me about his story?
Yeah.
Is how he accepted all of it.
Right.
The good and the bad, the happy times and the sad times.
He didn't let his problems define him, but he didn't run from them either.
Yeah, he just faced life head on with strength and honesty.
It's that honesty, you know?
Yeah.
That willingness to experience everything life has to offer.
Right.
That makes his story so interesting.
Yeah. It's not a fairy tale. It's real life.
It shows us how complicated life is. The strength we can find in ourselves and the power of love and helping others.
So as we finish this deep dive into Mario's life, what sticks with you the most? What can we learn from his journey? Something to think about.
Because I think there's something in his story for all of us.
Right.
Family faith, finding meaning even when things are hard. These are things that go beyond any one person's story.
Right.
And they give us something to think about on our own journeys.